What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are covering Book 2 of the Red Rising Saga, Golden Sun, written by Pierce Brown. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we're going to feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or over on the Book Clubs app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can also find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support the podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now over on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come over onto Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. Welcome back to another fantasy series discussion. Joining me is my fantasy series co-host, Casey from A Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yay, I'm excited too. I think it's going to be a good one.
I think so.
I think so. So today we are discussing the second book in the Red Rising Saga, Golden Sun, written by Pierce Brown. It was published January 6, 2015 by Del Rey and Recorded Books. The audiobook is narrated by Tim Gerard Reynolds. The paperback is 442 pages, and the unabridged audio is 19 hours and 3 minutes. So, Casey, would you please share the synopsis?
For 700 years, my people have been enslaved without voice, without hope. Now I am their sword, and I do not forgive. I do not forget. So let them think they own me. Let them welcome me into their house so I might burn it down. Darrow is a rebel forged by tragedy. For years, he and his fellow Reds worked the mines, toiling to make the surface of Mars inhabitable. They were, they believed, mankind's last hope, until Darrow discovered that it was all a lie, and that the Reds were nothing more than unwitting slaves to an elitist ruling class, the Golds, who had been living on Mars in luxury for generations. Now fully embedded amongst the Gold ruling class, Darrow continues his dangerous work to bring them down from within. It's a journey that will take him further than he's ever been before, but is Darrow truly willing to pay the price that rebellion demands?
Okay. So, when you closed the book, what did you think?
Honestly, my last thought was, I thought it was going to be his mother's head in that box.
Oh, man.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys.
Oh, spoilers all day, every day on this thing.
Spoilers.
So
but
it
was not his mother. And I'm kind of like, I guess this hits harder. But I thought it was going to be his mother in that box.
I thought it could have been someone like that, but it made sense that it was Ares, aka Fitchner. So
it did make sense for the whole thing. But I was like, because I was thinking, is it gonna be a repeat of their father with his first wife, and it'll be the tragic love story, or is it gonna be his mother? Ares was like not even on my mind, and then it was Ares. I was like, oh.
He mentioned where is he? They all mentioned where is he? And so
they were asking where she was too.
Yeah. So let's. Okay. So when I finished, I was like, oh my God, I fucking knew your luck was gonna run out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Can we talk about this though? Because he is a dumb motherfucker.
Yes.
Oh my God, I can pinpoint. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. For someone so smart, he misses obvious things like this whole event. He could feel something was wrong, but he pushed it aside.
It started way before that. Mm-hmm. So it started when he and his friends were like trying to reaffirm their allyship, air quotes, with the jackal. And he walks into the room and the jackal is sitting there looking at his little computer screen. And who's on the screen? Fuck, what's her name?
Harmony.
Harmony. Yes. Thank you. I can never remember anybody's name. Harmony. Like the one person who knows the entire truth about everything and can reveal everything. And Darrow, this dumb fuck, just goes like, oh, whatever.
And we know that he and Harmony did not agree. They parted ways badly. It did not go well.
Even if they were allies, somebody who's being tortured, they're probably going to give you up. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't think about that. He doesn't think about saving her.
That he rescued. He rescued the people that were anti-Harmony. Mm-hmm. 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 Ding, ding, ding.
You dumb bitch.
Yes.
Like, I had to put the book down at that moment and just, like, scream into a pillow because I was like, you are so dumb.
And even that. Why? So take that. That's one huge red flag that he ignored. Mm-hmm. And then you have Mustang constantly telling him, look, you cannot trust my brother. You cannot trust him. I know
everybody said that.
Yes, she said it several times, and someone else said it too.
Slavo said you can never trust Roke.
You cannot trust him.
You can't trust the Jackal. You can't trust Roke because Roke is going to pick the golds over the reds every damn time.
And okay, so this is what's so funny to me. So when Darrow revealed himself to Mustang, he thought that she might be too gold to understand, right? He thought that about her. He didn't think that about Rogue, and he should have.
He should have.
Because even though Rogue is like a quote-unquote nice guy, when it comes down to the colors, he's had a good life as a gold. He will never understand, because the minute he found out he wasn't gold, he turned on you in a dime. He went, change of...
Yep.
We
were friends. I can't be friends with a red. Yeah,
yes.
No, like,
and it didn't help that Darrow was really asinine to him almost this entire book. But also, I think back and I'm like, well, maybe he was listening to something instinctual, because he just did not share with Rogue, right? He kept him at arm's length, and he knew it was like really for no reason. Like, why am I doing that? He apologizes for doing that. But maybe it was something in him saying, I can't really trust him.
Yeah. Somebody you cannot trust, which it turned out to be true.
Yeah. Oh, the twisted turns, the backstabbing, all of it. I loved all of the backstabbing. Like, you just never know who's your real friend. But you know who did come through, and I liked her character, and she was very shaky in Red Rising. We didn't know what to think of her at first, and half the characters didn't know what to think of her in this book, and that is Victra. People were like, her family is crazy, her sister Antonia, blah blah blah, she is like them, and she is like, I am not.
Yeah. And remember when Roke stood up for her and he's like, look at all the shitty things my family's done, but you trust me. And we're like, but why? Why do we trust you?
Why do we trust you?
Why do we trust any of these people? You shouldn't.
Yeah. But Victra, I felt bad for her. I'm like, her own sister shot her in the back. Literally. And killed her mother. Literally. Like, God damn, Antonia, you crazy. You wild.
We knew that from book one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're...
She over there teeing and drinking and having a good time with her family, and then she turns around and gets dead. She's dead.
And then she spends her last breath to crawl over to Darrow and say, I didn't know.
She loved him. She was in love with Darrow. Every time she could touch his butt or kiss him on the mouth, she took the chance. Even though he was kind of uncomfortable with it, he did it, and she did it anyway. Constantly saying, when you have wished we could have got together, she was all into him.
1000%.
He could have told her, and she would have been down. She would have been down. I don't think she would have turned.
No, I think she would have gone in to meet his mother the way Mustang did not.
Yes. Victor was down. She... But, okay, so... let's talk about like all the people, because a lot of people know who he is now, but throughout the book, several people found out. He had to disclose himself. Like, for example, you know, several knew because his father told him, you know.
And who is Severo's father?
His father is the head guy of everything. He's Aries. He started all of this because of what happened to him and his wife, which we will tell you in a minute if you don't already know. But so when Severo like kind of confronts him and he's like, look, are you really not going to take the leap? I'm doing this shit for you. I've been here. We are friends. You're not going to take a step. And look, I will walk out of here and I will leave. He threatened
you have
him.
to
He's
trust
like,
me.
Yeah, he's
trust
like, you
goes both ways.
You better say it or I'm walking. And he just was like, He wasn't sure if he could do it, but he did it. And then he found out all the things. Like, wow. Wow. So we know Severo is down. He is down because he is, spoiler, obviously, he's half red,
half gold.
He's half red. So basically to them, he's red. You know, you're tainted. They didn't even like him anyway because he was scrawny. And now we find out why he's scrawny because he's half red. He wasn't as big as the other golds. So it's like, oh my God. So he found out. And then he took the chance and told the scarred obsidian. He told him, like, without any prompting, he just wanted him to be on his side without
and to trust.
Right. He wanted him to choose to help him. So he just blabbed everything. That was the easiest time he ever had of telling anybody anything.
He did not, or I don't remember if he put a little, what's the word where they cover their sound? He did it with Severo.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it here. And I was like, anybody on this ship can hear you right now.
I think they were in the refrigerator. He was like laying in like the refrigerator locker
I think
or something.
So, but I still would have like extra protection because anybody can betray you in this world where everybody does.
Yeah.
That was the one where I was like, I like what you're doing, but be smarter.
Yeah. But he told Ragnar without like thinking. He just was like,
he just
I need
sat
him.
down and did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, what? He's confused. He was very confused. He didn't understand.
Most people would be confused. Like, how do you go from a scrawny little red to like have a full body change so you're a completely different person?
But he told Ragnar, and he didn't need to see the video of his carving. He believed him.
Well, yeah.
So that says a lot. I'm like, well, we know that he's got two people, the giant and a what do you say? A giant and a midget or something?
Scrawny little man.
Yeah, so he's got those two. And I'm like, I wonder who else, like we said, I feel like he could have told Victor. Is there anyone else in that group you think he could have told and wouldn't have reacted horribly?
I hate to say this, but maybe Tactus. Like, if Tactus hadn't been killed and had come back and been forgiven and, like, been brought back into the inner circle and everything was okay, I think he could have been okay with it, like, eventually.
I think he would have loved it because he would have had one up on him because Tactus was very jealous of him.
Oh, absolutely.
And he had a lot of weak spots when it came to feeling like he wasn't good enough or being the best, which is why he got in the first place. He switched teams because of that. And then let me just say, side note.
No, you can say anything.
When Darrow forgave him and basically said, look, we all make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. And this fool cried like a fucking baby. I'm like, you?
Yeah, no. I kind of agreed with his death, but also, like, if he had been brought back in, I think he would have just, like, attached himself to Darrow.
He would have. He was, like, hanging on his fucking leg, basically. Like,
yeah.
I understand why What's-His-Face killed him, though. You were in there about to murder a lot of children and caregivers.
Yes.
He was gonna do it.
He was going to do it. He already fucked up a lot of other shit. Like, no, I did agree with his death. I do think he should have died in that moment. But if things had been different and if he had, not been murdered, I think if he'd been brought into the fold, it would have worked in Darrow's favor.
Totally. Because, Tactus was always kind of like, at least the author made us think he was always a question mark, right? He was never really solid in there because of his smart mouth, his quips. He was always, which was on purpose.
I think Quinn would have been on Darrow's side. And I think that would have broken her and Rogue more than anything. Because she was always really nice to Savo. Like, everybody would be really mean to him, and she would be really nice to him, and that's why he loved her. But, she was with the poet, the sweet, gentle soul who turned out to be awful at the
biggest
end.
Asshole. But you know what? I think if Quinn lived, he might not have done that because she influenced him.
She did. Oh, yeah.
And when she was gone, he was angry. He was very irate about it, right? Which he should have been.
Yeah.
But he didn't, he never was able to get back into the game after she died. Not really.
Not in the way he was before. Her death really did change him, and not for the best.
Yeah. But if Quinn, let's just imagine if she was alive and Darrow told her, I think she would have been able to sway Rogue to act differently.
I think so too. Because she would have been pro-Red, and Rogue would have just followed her.
Because I love her. That's why.
It would have chafed a bit, because he definitely loves gold more than anything else. But I think it would have worked.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done it for Darrow. He would have done it for her. And without her, there's no point.
Yep, absolutely.
And he already, like we said, he already had problems with Darrow already. Because what's-her-face wasn't killed. The arch-governor lady wasn't killed until the end. And all he wanted was to kill that woman.
Yep. But then he teamed up with her.
He did. He did.
So maybe Quinn wouldn't have been able to change Rogue. I don't know.
And see, that's the thing, though. I don't know if he necessarily teamed up with her or if he teamed up with the Jackal and that was a part of the deal.
I think he teamed up with the Jackal and that was just part of the deal.
Because the Jackal had to have told him that he was Red. It came from the Jackal.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Because he got Harmony, which Darrow fucking saw and heard. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Men are so stupid.
He was so dumb.
So dumb. Oh my God.
I've been trying to hunt down Harmony's ass and figure out what the hell you told him, what is going on. But
save her, ask her if she's turned on you. It's the fucking Jackal. Just assume the worst. But no, he's like, no, I don't trust them, but we're still buddy-buddy. We're gonna, hang out and everything's fine. I
think Darrow thinks of the Jackal like people who have wild cats for pets. Like, he's fine. I know how to play with him. I know how to, he will never bite me. And then they go and rip your arm off when you turn your back. Yep. And that is how he treated the Jackal. Like, I know what you're saying. And I know you're telling me your own twin is an asshole and I can't trust him. But I know how to handle it.
I know better. I can handle him. No, the fuck you cannot. Sit down.
No.
Sit your ass down.
But the Jackal has made himself an enemy because if Mustang was on the fence, she's going to pick a side now. Because, when she found out, she walked away. When she found out that he was Red and saw the video of his carving, she walked away. And I think that she wasn't necessarily, I'm going to tell, but she wanted space to think about it, right? Because they were together for some time.
Years.
Between this, they were together and he didn't. So, of course, she felt betrayed, right? But when she finds out that her brother murdered their father, because she's all about family, my family.
Everything is family for her.
When she finds out what he did and that they took him, bets are off. She's going to pick a side.
No, she's picking Darrow's side. You can't kill our father and still claim to be my brother and think that things are going to be okay, because they're not.
No, she's not going to let it go.
No, she's not.
No. So he made, I guess, a calculated risk, and I guess he doesn't care. He is, what do you call him? Is he like a sociopath? He does not care?
Maybe. Is a sociopath the one who knows exactly what they're doing is wrong but does it anyway, and the psychopath doesn't know what they're doing is wrong?
I don't know about to look, because I want to use the right term for him.
Yes. There's a little bit of narcissism, but I think it's more than that.
Okay, so it says the short and dirty, quick and dirty of a sociopath, a person with a personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior and lack of conscience.
Yeah.
No regard for right or wrong, ignores the rights and the feelings of others.
Yep.
He doesn't see people as people. He sees them as chess things on a board.
Yeah. He sees people and things as useful to him or not. He sees the world as very have and have not. Mine and mine not, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we find out at the end that he, as a 10-year-old, he was having people taken out and murdered at 10 years old.
His older brother.
Yes.
He had his older brother's girl roughed up. They didn't say how, but they just roughed her up. And then he paid $7 million to have his older brother murdered.
He goes to his father.
That's a psychopath.
It's like, are you a fucking idiot? He's like, what do you think I was doing with that money?
Oh my God.
Like, what an idiot. And he had his own brother. And that tells me that no matter what he said about Mustang, how he appears to feel about her, if she were there, she'd be dead too. But she just wasn't there because of she was mad at Darrow. But if she was there, she likely would either have been taken or killed.
I think taken at first. But if she watched him kill their father, she might have tried to fight and then been killed. Because I don't think he wants to kill her yet. I think he has some weird plan in the back of his mind for her.
Probably has something to do with Cassius' lame ass. I'm like, oh my God. Because here come Cassius off the ship like, where is Mustang? Like, ew, gross ass. No one wants you. Go somewhere. Oh, God.
You have had your ass handed to you multiple times in this series. You have been peed on. You've had your arm chopped off.
Yes.
You have been humiliated multiple times. And still, he walks in all cocky like he can.
He should go hide. Because especially now, he knows he got his ass handed to him by a red. It was a red did that to you. A slave.
A slave did that to you.
He could have killed you, but he didn't.
He purposely didn't. He should have killed him. But he thought the humiliation would be worse. But no, you should have killed him. But then what he was saying, like, you killed my entire family, including all the children, I was like, oh, that's the Jackal's plan.
Obviously, the Jackal is manipulating everyone.
Everybody.
And of course, Rogue gave him a drug. He couldn't fucking talk. He's like, what are you talking about? Why did he give him that kind of drug where it paralyzed him like that? Like, why?
Because that's torturous. Makes you suffer even more when you can't talk.
They're going to torture him. They're going to do stuff to him.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah, and they said they wanted him for research or some mess. Like, they don't try to...
Well, they want to figure out how he was made into a gold.
Yeah, because they said every time that failed, no one... It's not possible. Must they say it's not possible for someone to withstand that? Like, how did it work, They don't think that could ever happen, but it did twice.
But it did. Twice.
Yes. Which, by the way, when we found out that Fitchner was Aries, I'm like, mother.
Holy shit.
And Daryl made some good points to him. He's like, this whole time we could have been working together instead of like you just leaving me in the dark and struggling like I have been struggling. But when he did confront him about Titus, he said, yeah, I knew about Titus, but I couldn't tell you. And that made sense as well. He couldn't tell him.
It did make sense, but also I feel sad for Titus.
So do you hate Titus a little less than you did in the last book? I mean, he did wrong.
He did a lot of wrong shit. No, he did a lot of bad things, and I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah.
But like Darrow was saying, Titus didn't have any friends, and maybe if he had friends or knew there was an allyship,
or was loved,
maybe it could have been different.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just kind of that, like, yeah,
all
maybe
he had was rage.
Could have been different. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said that without EO, without Mustang, without his friends, that could have been him.
Absolutely.
It could have been.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, thinking of Titus, it's like, there are a lot of circumstances to get him to this way versus the Jackal who's just fucking crazy. That's, you know, so while he also was bad, doing bad things, and he needed to die for those reasons, I just think can't put him in the same bucket.
No. Like there was something really wrong with Titus, and like he did a lot of really awful things and deserved to die for them. Absolutely. I will never say otherwise. But it's also just kind of like, wow, the circumstances of your life, the circumstances of your social standing and your friends and the people you love, they do change you and they do shape you, and it does change your destiny to be, you know, wildly. But just looking at Darrow and Titus, yeah, it does change everything.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Wow. It was, I'm telling you, there were so many, I had the feels like a lot of times in this book.
There was a lot going on.
There was, but I think one of the main things that I liked was like, and I think I told you this with the last book. I said, this book comes into its own in book 2. It feels completely different. You know how we were making comparisons in book 1? I didn't have comparisons in this book. Did you have more comparisons?
No, it does feel different. I mean, I did kind of get some like Star Wars vibes, but this is in outer space and it's war, you know, Star Wars. So
yeah,
that, but otherwise, no, it did feel like its own thing. It didn't feel the way, and I almost feel like you could read this book on its own and not necessarily need to read the first book. Like, there are so many times where they would just bring characters up, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? Was this somebody in book 1? No, this is somebody totally new. I can't tell you how many times I referenced that page in the beginning of the book where it lists all the characters. Yeah. And it's like, all right, who's this person? Who's this person? What's going on? And then there'd be plot twists like, oh yeah, we spent the last 2 years training with this guy, and now he's like a solid ally and friend. And I'm like, who the fuck is he? We didn't meet him before.
That's because we skipped. So we learned that, so, you know, when he won before,
he was barely 18.
Passed. Yeah, he's barely 18. A year had passed. And in this time, he and Mustang had got close during that time. And then it was a choice to be made. He could either go back in and play these war games, and that's what he chose to do. And Mustang chose to go to Venus and do legal stuff, like try to be in the government, right? So they chose different paths, and they essentially like broke up, right? So after we kind of learn how we get to where we are pretty quickly, which is abundantly clear. So you're right. Maybe we didn't need the first book but we might not get the relationship things like between Rogue and him without the first book, and Severo, like why is Severo so loyal? We wouldn't have gotten without the first book.
Yeah, no, like the first book was necessary, but if somebody asked me, hey, do I need to, like, I have this book in my hand, can I start reading it right now? I might be like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, no, it takes place 2 years after Red Rising. But that's the thing. Okay, so he's now officially 20, turning 21 here. He's, you know, more adult now than ever before. But he felt like a child so much. Like, he felt like a young teenager to me, almost. Like, he
really?
Was, yes.
When?
I mean, okay, the very obvious times when he was, like, about to do something scary. And he's like, I wish I was 5 again and at home with my mommy. Like, there are 2 of those spots specifically. But other times where he's like, oh my God, the angst, the drama. Do I pick this girl or that girl? I can't pick a girl if I can't tell her the truth. Oh my God, the drama. I have to be alone.
See, okay, I agree with you. I'm like, either you're going to do the thing or you're not going to do the thing. Pick one.
Yes.
Right? So the back and forth, was kind of angsty and young feeling, but I wouldn't necessarily say teenager-like, because he knew that by, like, you can't have it, your cake and eat it too, right? So by being with Mustang and still not revealing yourself was going to cause more damage than anything. And he knew that. So he was like, well, I can't tell. At that point in time, he couldn't tell her. But later, after they had started sleeping together again, he felt like, I have to tell her because I can't continue. Right.
Yeah.
So he grew up a little bit in that choice.
Yes.
But
yes, that was the growing up. But also, like, there was a whole ass love triangle between him, Victra, and Mustang going on. And I was like, are we in Twilight again? Like, does everybody have to fall in love with him?
Yeah, that's the thing. I did notice that he is like the woman in all the other books where everyone loves her. Now it's him.
Yes.
But he never cared about Victra other than friendship. I don't think there was. I think he thought maybe in another world, maybe that might.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like maybe in a different world because he wasn't encouraging it. It was just the fact that she would not let up, even though she was like 10 years older than him.
She was 7 years older. She was 27.
But let me just say, if I saw a man 7 years younger than me today, I would not. No, I would not throw myself at him. Look,
if you were Victra, you would have a real thing for powerful men.
This is true.
And Darrow is powerful. He has influence. Yes. So she has all the he has all the things that she likes.
This is true. But I was still just like, this is a YA love triangle. Can we not?
Okay, I'll take it. Although I think a triangle has to mean there actually is a question of a choice. Like if we're talking like Twilight, Bella actually was confused though for a minute of what she wanted. But I feel like if there's no confusion, is that a real triangle?
No, it's not. It was just annoying. It was just one of those things. I'm like, why? Why do we have to deal with this? It was a good counterbalance to like all the fucking battle that was going on. But also I would have rather had anything else.
Anything else but that?
Anything else but that. We don't need every woman to fall in love with Darrow.
Although, you know, which is strange, I thought for a minute Severo had like a thing for Victra.
He kind of does.
Yeah, but then it seemed like Severo had a thing for
Quinn.
What's her name?
Oh, he was in love with Quinn. He was absolutely 100% in love with Quinn. I think Victra was just kind of like, okay, now that Quinn is dead, maybe we have some banter here. Like I think this is him trying to
get lost. He always be telling her, kick rocks, get out of here. And he's like, you like her, I know.
Yes.
Okay, we're over time. Let's take a quick break. Yeah, let's take a break. When we come back, we will continue our conversation on Golden Sun and talk about more relationship drama and other stuff. In the meantime, do check out these commercials. By listening to those, you are supporting the podcast. And of course, always feel free to hop on over to Amazon and pick up the book review journal available right now. Stay with us.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item.
All right, welcome back.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So back in Red Rising, I had a theory. Do you remember this theory?
Yes. And you know what? I tried so hard to not give it away. Did I do a good job?
You did an excellent job.
I said, she is going to kill me when she sees this, but I was not giving it away.
You did not give it away. You did an amazing job.
I actually argued against it.
You did. And so my first thought was, oh shit, did she forget? And I was like, no, she's just that good.
I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I had already decided. I feel like if Casey brings up anything that I know is an absolute, I'm not gonna acknowledge it.
For those of you who might not remember, in case you're not binging the podcast, in Red Rising, I said that I was 100% convinced that Io was pregnant when they killed her. Because her sister comes up onto the stage, she says something, her sister looks really sad and starts crying even harder. And I was like, oh, the women know she's pregnant and they're not going to tell Darrow. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, at the beginning of book 2, we get to watch the clip again and find out that she was pregnant with their baby. And it breaks him because he's a man who can't handle the truth. I guess. I was like, oh my God, I was right.
He wanted her to hide the
crib,
the baby bassinet crib thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
hide it from him. He can't know that I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Yep. I was right.
Like, oh, I'm surprised I didn't get a text message on that one, but I let it go.
Because I was reading at midnight. I wasn't going to bother you.
Yeah, I'd be asleep. But yeah, Darrow, he is a little bit of a young person at heart when it comes to like his family and his wife. Although I feel like, again, he grew up toward the end of the book when he went back home and he talks about, he had her on this pedestal and he started remembering some things that weren't too great about her. You know what I mean? And then when he meets his mother again, I was like, she knows her son. Oh, thank God. I felt so happy that she knew that was her kid. But she even says, I didn't really like her. Not for you. Like she didn't hate the woman, but she just didn't really like how she dealt with things. And she thought he would have been left holding the bag, doing her work.
Which he was.
Which is what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
So he walked away from that, ready to put the ghost to bed, right? Which is very important because how much longer can we hear him
talk about Io?
Wax poetic about Io. Oh my God. Like she's like the best thing ever since sliced bread. And yes, she did push him to get to a different place, but it was like she was good for him for that time, and now Mustang is good for him for something else.
Yes.
At a different point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Io was everything he needed when he was a Red. I think she pushed him to be better, which he did, and then, Ares came along and took him to be even better than anybody could have imagined. But, Mustang's going to push him harder.
I love Mustang.
I love Mustang.
See, last time I was like, I love her. You're like, man.
I wasn't sold yet, but this book sold me on Mustang.
She is constantly covering for Darrow. She is like, I'm helping you. I'm here. You don't need my brother. I am very smart.
Yes.
And know all the things. Yes. Let me help you.
And
like that scene.
You dumb motherfucker.
You dumb fuck. Like, oh my God. Like that scene though, when she came, like, okay, so we all know what's his face? Obsidian is always like linking around in the back in the corner, trying to make sure no one hurts him. And she's outside in the hallway, like trying to get in. And he's like, should I let her in? Should I act like I'm asleep? And she's like, Daryl, open this damn door, basically. So
Yes.
that scene was amazing. She basically attacks him and she's like, you're going to tell me the truth. We're going to get to the bottom of this because I know you don't have time to think and you're going to answer with the truth.
Yep. And then he doesn't really, he gives her some truth, but again, he hides.
But not all.
He hides the big
most
truth.
Important. Yeah. But I think
and
in that moment,
and she left.
Do you think that if he had disclosed the real truth to her at that moment, she would have had a better reaction or the same reaction?
Maybe a worse reaction.
I
don't think she would have believed it. I think she had to physically be down in the caves and see the video clip and like understand he's not lying. Because if, this big gold guy in space on a gold ship tells you, oh yeah, I'm a red, you would just be like, why the fuck do you keep lying to me?
He still had the video. He could have shown her the video.
He did have the video, but there's just that extra proof of like being down there and going to the right door. Like,
Yeah, she's like, how do you know where you're going? It's like,
I think like she needed that extra proof. So if he had told her the truth, in space, she would have been like, you're just lying to me. Why do you keep lying to me? Stop making stuff up.
Yeah. But he kind of, they end up starting to get back together after that. I'm like, well, we knew that was coming because no man will deny sex. No man.
Especially not right after you almost die. That was life reaffirming. And he even said like it felt like 5 seconds ago that he was in the mud dying, not a week ago. So he's like, no, I'm alive. I need to have sex right now.
Yeah. So that happened. Yeah. So, but it was all off page, which of course, leave it to a man not to give us the goods. Pierce Brown, you didn't give us the goods.
I'm actually happy about that because every time I've ever read a sex scene written by a man, it has been horrific and terrible. And like, I hate it. So I was like,
so maybe
thank
it's
God
he didn't get it.
Yeah. Thank God he did not write this.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, maybe it's better he didn't. I agree.
I mean, yeah, no. He writes women really well, and he does a lot of things really well that I haven't seen from other male writers. But I was very glad that there was no sex scene on the page.
Yeah, he does. Like, to me, I know some people nitpick everything to death, but in general, I think he wrote Mustang very well. I think he wrote Victor very well. I even liked his mother, how he wrote his mother. I liked some of the other women around, even though there were as you would expect in this type of setting, way more men than women. That is not unusual. That's how it is in every corporate office in America.
Yes.
So
every political thing ever. Yeah, no, that made sense. And they did talk about it. There are times that they'd be sitting at the table and Dara would say, oh yeah, no, there's only one woman here. And I'm like, thank you for highlighting that. Thank you for not just like blowing past it. So yeah, no, there were some good things he did.
Yeah, even the part where after they had taken Lysander, the kid, and Augustus is like trying to send Victor off with the kid, and then of course this is when Tactus gets the kid. He's like, oh, I'll do it. But at that point, Daryl was like, why she gotta do it? Like, he picks the only other woman in here to go, take the boy. But of course Tactus is like, oh, I'll do it. We know he had ulterior motives, but
yeah,
typical. Let the women watch the child.
But you could trust this woman and you cannot trust that man. So
no, which he didn't know. And it's funny. They're asking like, they were like, what? They knew something was wrong, and they're like sitting there, and all of a sudden Daryl's like, fucking Tactus, oh no! Like, he ran off. Like, he did that. He's like, oh, he knew. He already knew. He's got him. He's gone.
Yeah.
Poor kid. We never heard from Lysander again, so we'll find out what happened to his poor soul.
I hope he wasn't killed by his grandmother, but knowing her, she might just be like, can't have you used against me in the future.
No.
Goodbye, kiddo.
No. So that was wild. Also, even the part where
I was going to say also the jackal's on the playing field and he kills kids all the time. So even if grandma doesn't kill Lysander, he might.
Yeah. And who knows how that kid is going to grow up, if he grows up, because, you know, the one guy, I can't remember his name right now, his mentor that he tricked into joining, you know, and then threatened him and tricked him. I can't remember his name, but, you know, he motivated him like, hey, if you can have your grandson, you can teach him different. You can teach him something different. And then that just...
He's dead now.
He's
it's
dead
not
now.
going to happen.
I mean, so many people were killed.
So many people. Oh my God.
Outrageous. So at the end, who was all left? So Severo was alive because he wasn't there. No, I mean from Daryl's side. So obviously Mustang, Severo. It was someone else. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy's name. The Obsidian's name. What's his name?
We just said it like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we did. Ragnar.
Yes.
And of course, the Pax people, Pax's people weren't there,
which is good.
Yeah. And I have a feeling once they find out who he is, they'll be okay with it.
I think so. They seemed really cool.
I think that's hilarious how he describes Pax's father and brother. Like, those two fools just eat everything. They eat everything. They got the fox that eats Skittles. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
They found Skittles in your pocket? Yay, we'll work with you. Like, what the hell?
The son, Pax's brother snuck him in his pocket. I'm like, that is hilarious. The Telemonises, that's their name.
Yes.
Like, oh
no, they were fun. Cool. They were good allies.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think they will side with the Reds.
Yeah, they're going to come with Mustang and save him. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
I hope so.
It better happen. Because we know he's going to, something bad's going to happen to Daryl. I mean, these fools not going to take him and not do anything to him.
No, he's going to get tortured for a bit.
Knock him down a couple pegs.
Because he has tortured all of them repeatedly throughout all of these years. So, especially if they put Cassius on him, which I have a question. So I don't know if this ever gets explained or resolved. When Julian was sent to the initial Academy, House of Mars, back in the first book, everybody knew he was really soft. His whole family knew he was really soft. But they also knew that the very first night, you have to go in and murder somebody or be murdered. Did they not expect him to be murdered? Like, did they honestly think that their soft little sweet boy who can't go fishing was going to be able to murder somebody in cold blood in that room?
I think they expected for him being who he was to get someone that was worse off than him so he could win.
Okay.
I think they expected him because, you know, they put the softer people with the harder people, knowing what the result would be. So I think that family was expecting that the school would be smart enough to give him someone weaker than him that he can beat. You know,
it would have been worse if they stuck him in the room with Cassius.
Oh man! But we know Cassius would come out. He would have killed his brother.
He would have. But yeah, no. The way in the very beginning, their mother was just like being fucking awful and just like, I can't believe nobody loves me because they won't bring me the heart of my child's murderer. I was like, didn't you expect this? Like, didn't you know the very first day there was a 50-50 shot of him getting murdered?
Yeah, they did know, but they, you know, they're Bolognas or whatever their name are, you know, they can just excuse the hell out of me. We're better than you. I mean, hell, they were picked. Their family was picked by the head lady to be like the successor of Mars, they had plotted
That's true.
to oust, Mustang's family. That whole thing because she had taken favor with Cassius's family. So yeah, totally. She totally expected something else because she's entitled.
Okay. Because I was just like, but you know how this house works. You know these games.
What's she going on a hunger strike? Like, bitch, who cares?
No, that doesn't work. Hunger strikes only hurt you.
Exactly. Like, you go ahead. No one cares. No one cares about you. But when Darrow almost killed his ass, I'm like, he playing around. I knew he was playing around.
He was. When he was
trying to get
Cassius.
Yeah, he wanted them to stop him. Yeah, when he called out, this is my right. He putting on a show for shits and giggles. I'm like, he wanted that, wanted them to stop him, and they did. And he's like, haha, you did it.
You fell into my trap.
Woman begged. She basically begged the sovereign lady to stop this. She's staring her in the face. Like, do not let them kill my last son.
But then they killed all the cousins. So
I know. That was so wild. So many fights. Some like the war, like a little war turned into like a civil war. Like this is something short and sweet turned into something
big and massive,
long lasting. Yeah.
World ending, which is what they wanted.
So do you have any predictions for Morningstar? That's it.
If Mustang ends up pregnant, I'm going to scream. But that's not like a prediction. That's just me being like, I can't deal with that.
Okay.
No, I think a lot more people are going to die. What are you holding up?
Book 3 is 518 pages.
Jesus
so it's
Christ,
even longer. Even longer.
442.
Yeah, so it's under 100 pages longer. But
damn.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm like, let me read the first page of Morningstar. I'm like, we have the galaxy here on this one.
Ooh.
And of course, we have more Sons of Aries, mid and low colors, golds, of course. I want to start this right now. But I have other things to read, so I will wait. But I have to make sure I pace myself because I started in with Golden Sun real hard, and I'm like, I'm going to be finished too early. So I had to take several days off. And then I came back, and I'm like, okay, I finished. So yeah, I had to pace myself. And I know you were bringing it in at the last minute.
Last fucking minute. It was good, though. It was a good binge.
Yeah. I'm glad because I'm like, I always get nervous. Like, the minute I recommend something, Casey is going to hate it.
Vice versa. I recommended some books to you and you just come back and hate it so much.
Well, this was good.
This was good.
Should we talk about more or should we go ahead and rate it?
Let's go ahead and rate it.
Okay. So anything we missed, you guys, if you're listening to this conversation, you're like, there's a bunch of stuff they didn't talk about. Join us for book club.
Yes.
We can talk about it there.
Yes. There's so much in this book. And we obviously skipped a lot of it. But yeah, come talk to us in book clubs.
Yes, absolutely. So the link for book clubs is in the show notes. So you can come on over and join us there and talk to us there. And don't worry if you're not into book clubs, fine. Hopefully this conversation was sufficient and you enjoyed it. And okay, so let's rate the thing. You first, Casey.
I'm going to give it 4 stars. It was really good. Yeah, 4 stars. It was really good.
Right. Winning.
There were times when Darrow was the dumbest motherfucker ever, and I just could not handle him. But there was a lot of really good things about the story, too. And the character development was done well. And the plot twists were obvious to me. But I think, I'm just sitting here going, you're dumb. Look at this big red flag. So, it was done really well. 4 stars.
Okay. Awesome. So first time around, I gave it 5 stars back in 2015. I'm going to stay steadfast with the 5 stars. I really, really liked this installment. Like, yes, I too was frustrated with Darrow at times. And I just wanted to get to the guts of where I knew shit was going to go left, like way left. But I was patient. Like, it already went left, but this is like left of left, like bad. But I really liked everything about this book. It was paced well, even though some of the war parts were a little clunky. That didn't bother me too much because that's like, you can't have a war book without war scenes. So I was okay with that. And I just love the characters. I really love the characters, even the bad ones, right? Like, they're well done. Like, no one's like cartoonish, really.
No.
You know, except the Telemanuses. They are all cartoonish. They're like Lord of the Rings, like giants or some shit. But other than that, yeah, it's a good read. It's definitely a step up from book 1.
Yes, a lot better than book 1.
Yeah. So good job, Pierce Brown. Good job. All right, so I think that's it for today.
Yes.
Okay. Well, hopefully you will be back here next month to hear us talk about book 3, the final in the trilogy arc. This is where we're going to stop on the podcast because this does conclude the story. So we're going to be back here next month to talk about Morning Star, and hopefully you'll be back here too. In the meantime, we will see you next time, guys. Take care of yourselves.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.